Siona, and I hope you're doing well. Yeah, um, I just want to take some time to sit down and reflect on my life and my own kind of creative and personal journey from the last few years. I'm recording this towards the end of December, a little bit after Christmas in 2024. And yeah, again, I really wanted to take the time to reflect and think about where I've been, not just creatively, but I guess just personally with life. And yeah, I mean, I did a similar video a few years ago, towards the beginning of 2022. And during that time, I covered from 2018 to the beginning of 22. And um, during that video, I actually didn't see the whole thing recently, but I did catch the end of it. But I just remember the idea of like, oh, like, I think just during that time, those earlier years, I felt like a big part of that was me just kind of finding my way after leaving a band that I was in and where I was at musically and what I was trying to pursue. And yeah, I guess this is just an additional video to add on to that kind of this collective kind of recorded memories, I guess. I have a few of these kind of videos here and there, and I don't know. It is always a little silly. I always feel a little weird, and um, yeah. Whenever I try to record this, I tried to record this earlier, and it's always like, oh, like, who am I talking to? What am I doing? I guess I don't know. I guess life is just all of that. It's just a mix of jumbled emotions and navigating different ships and eras in life and where we are and where we're going. And I don't know. Every time I try to sit down and I think just in general talk, um, I think it could just be hard. It's very easy for me to, I don't know, if for the people that know me, I think it could be very easy for me to just fool around and try to be funny and silly. Um, but I think, and I do like getting very philosophical and talking about, like, again, music, creativity, just life. Um, but I don't really, and I guess a quick acknowledgement that I don't always share just what's really, I guess, like going on for very, like, just except for maybe a very select few, and even then, it's just, it is just very hard for me to share. And I think specifically the last few months of this year has also, well, 2024 has been really, really crazy, but I'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, again, I just want to take this time to really just kind of let it out, I guess, and as you know, as respectfully and as calmly as I can, and really just kind of think about where my life has been, and I mean where it's going. Again, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm trying to figure it all out, but yeah, I wrote down some notes, something I kind of did with other papers. Anyways, I figured I'd just kind of go break it down little by little during the last 3 years. And yeah, just to share, I kind of, within these notes, I split it up between struggles, um, I guess my own personal kind of creative notes, and then some collaborative notes that I want to share as well, seeing as how I feel like with the last video is also more of a just kind of what I was doing more creatively during those last few years. But as I kind of really started thinking about, like, how do I want to approach this video? Um, since for a while now, actually, I was thinking about doing this like last year, but I think right now feels like this feels like a good time to kind of really reminisce, I think. And And again, think about like not just my own path, but how I've walked it with other people as well. Um, Specifically with my partner Alba, who's been just been a really big part of my life. Thank you, sweet. But yeah, I guess I can get started with. Try not to make this too long, aside from it being late, and I can just blah 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 blah. But yes, anyways, I figure I start with 2022. Um, when I was looking through just kind of like my Instagram and like my YouTube and just files that I have on my computer, I just started to see like, okay, like what was I doing? Like, what are the traces and memories, I guess, that I have like stored in digital, audio, visual formats, and or if I look at my Bandcamp, actually, I noticed that I had a lot of well, I was starting. It seems like I was starting to get into recording music at that time. Again, obviously, it's been a while. My memory's not all there, but I'm gonna do my best to cover everything that I can. Um, when I was looking, I was like, okay, cool. It looked like I was on the track to try to release like a song once a month, more or less. It was, I think, even just recording to begin with was just really, really difficult for me. It was, I just got very, very stuck with like, oh, it needs to be perfect. It needs to be like this, like that. And I feel more calm about it now. Excuse me. I still get, oh, excuse me, shy and nervous about it. And as I think about it now, like going into the future, I would like to be a little bit more, I would like to approach recording with a stronger intent, I guess. I think, obviously there's a lot of demos and just things that it's like, I've grown to just kind of appreciate to be like, you know what, like this is what I've had at the moment. And that actually covers a lot of what I'll go over and what I've shared during the last few years. But just like, just letting it go and just, even just saying that's a little funny. But really just embracing the moment for what it is. And yeah, it's crazy because again, as I really try to sit down and process all of it, um, I could see how I've shifted from, and obviously my mood too would changes. If you would have asked me even a few days ago, it would have been very hard for me to kind of express. Um, I don't know, just I don't even know how to say it, but it's just been a. I feel like mood just plays a very big role, and I'm rambling, but this is what this is, and this is the moment that I'm taking. But yeah, every moment, really, like if I think about it, whether it's a live show or whether it's a recording, um, some recordings take a while. Some one polychrome I did in a day, um, and it's just life again. It's a real trip. But getting back on track, I was looking over the songs and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So like I was getting into trying to at least do a little bit once a day, oh, once a month, and releasing them. And one of the songs that stood out was a song called Recuérdate, and it's an electronic piece with like me singing actually, and and like two guitar licks that I remember, phrases, and I remember trying to record this earlier, and the video was a little, but anyways, I remember going to work, and before I went in, I was working at a school at the time, um, just waiting for the time to start. I I don't remember entirely what it was, but I just remember lyrics kind of like I was formulating them as I was driving to work, and it's kind of reminiscent, I think, of like sometimes when well, a lot of times when I take a shower, like a lot of ideas just kind of, for me, they just kind of like flow. I've read that that's kind of similar for other people too. And yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the time and being there and letting the water run. And point being, I don't know. Again, I was driving, so it's different. But just seeing that flow of information and creativity, whatever it is, like just kind of like come out. And I'm like, oh, what if I say this? What if I say that? And I remember writing the lyrics like somewhere on one of my phones. Um, the phone that I had. I have more phones now, but I don't want to make it sound like, oh yes, there's my business phone, here's my personal phone, here's my no. It's just, but but I remember just I remember like it was about the midday and the feeling of just creating. And if I think of all the songs that I've done so far, like I really like that one. And again, as I was kind of writing all these notes and be like, what do I want to kind of highlight? Again, I'm not going to be able to cover everything, but yeah, I think when I thought about that song, it was like, oh, like how I was able to combine an electronic element with an acoustic, well, yeah, my voice, a personal element to the guitar, the electric guitar, and it's just very, wow. I think about it, it's like, wow, how how far it's come, I guess, from still being shy me, but seeing these things come into fruition. And that can be said for a lot of the things that I'll cover. But anyways, like it's like wow, it was really great to see how I was able to kind of get that going and like, oh, okay, cool, let my inhibitions kind of like fade away, or at least be able to kind of like calm them down a little bit. Be like, oh, it's okay, like we can do this. There's the support of my friends, my loved ones, or and myself, just trying to be like, okay, like let me try to do this, like this video, like really intently just sitting down and being like, this is what I want to try to do. Sometimes it's very easy, sometimes it's a little harder, but yeah, it was really nice to see those recordings and be like, oh, like I haven't heard them all lately, but just again the feeling of being able to see like I got over that little hurdle, which I still struggle with, but yeah, that's really nice to see. But 2022 was also not a very easy year at all either. I yeah, there were a lot of things happening at the time, but one of the things that really stood out was around that time, around the middle of the year. Um, I remember Interpol was releasing a new album, and me and Alba went, and they had like a music video release party thing, and they were showing the video. We saw a conversation with the director, Melina, I believe her name was, and forgive me if I got it wrong, Melina James, and a photographer to help photograph them during that session, during those times, that album, um, which I have, which I'll show in a bit. But I bought the vinyl. It was a really great night, really great kind of behind the scenes talking with the people that were involved with that music video, um, with other fans. And yeah, me and Alba, we went to go eat pizza with her sister and her partner, and and Tani. And yeah, it was just a really nice night. I remember thinking like, this is really lovely, and this was like somewhere in Hollywood, I think. I remember going back to the car with Alba. Uh, I remember by that time, like the album just released on Spotify. I bought the vinyl, but I was like, oh well, it's here. Let's listen to it. Um, I put it on, we're driving, and I won't go into every detail, but yeah, long story short, just we crashed. We were in a car accident, and it was yeah, I think it was really scary. Um, I mean, we're here, thank God. Um, it was an ordeal that we passed through, but at the time, it was like, what the, like that was not on my list of things to do for that year. And again, I can go through every detail. I'm not going to, but I remember it was interesting because during the conversations with the director, um, at that time, I remember asking the question like, "Oh," she mentioned how she had a different idea or something for a different video or song, but more or less, I remember asking like, "Oh, what were maybe your ideas like before or for a different like what other kind of creative visions did you have for the video?" And I remember her mentioning something like, I actually saw the video a little bit before today, just to kind of refresh my memory. But she mentioned how, I guess, she envisioned like two characters, and maybe one of them was like relapsing from like a drug addiction, and how they got in an argument with their partner, and then they broke it off or something, and then the I guess the character in the film would have been going through like kind of brushing up against these kind of like moments of danger, I guess. I think I heard the video. I don't know if she said get cooked by a car. I don't know if she meant hit or I don't know. I don't know if like if it's like New York slang, but but yeah, just how this person would have like be very very close to having these accidents, and but just their journey kind of like moving through that. And I remember at the time like in my mind it was just like we just finished listening to that conversation like maybe an hour or two ago. Um, we're driving like I don't see this happening. Like I mean, as it was about to happen, that was crazy. But um, it's just it was just something that happened. We didn't expect it. Um, and I remember the song being Fables, and the name of the album is called On the Other Side of Make Believe. And I mean, I don't remember exactly what lyric, but I remember at the time feeling like maybe like I was approaching life a certain way, and even now, I would like to think that it definitely changed since then, but there was just this line. I can't remember everything, but just the idea of like, oh, like in my mind, it's like trying to make a change basically, because it's like we can't stay within this lane forever. Let's just say, and yeah, I'm not gonna take it out to not make too much noise, but Melina actually signed it. I'll take it out real quick. But forgive it if it's loud. Hold on. I actually asked her to sign it because I just thought it was really lovely the way that she shared the story and what she was also going through as she was making the video and coming up with ideas. But this album was actually in the back of the car in the trunk. The car got totaled, but this thing was in the back and survived too. It probably can't see, but it's got all these like crooked edges. Look at that. It's but I really like the album. I mean, it sounds great, and I love the piano pieces. But it was just like, huh, like it was just such a strange trip, and I mean, went to go get checked up with Alba, and it was we didn't get home until like 5, 6 in the morning. But everything after that was life. I mean, it's just like what all these things that we had to go through afterwards, and it was just intense. But I feel like it definitely shifted my perception on life, I guess. And I'm just glad that we're here. And yeah, it's like, that was a while ago. But I guess as I'm remembering, it's just like, oh yeah, that was heavy. Um, and yeah, if I look at my notes, like during that time, also in 22, I was working. It looked like I did. I have this character called Zero. I've named him Zero since then. Um, it's kind of like the Scully, kind of like mischievous devil kind of being, and I've performed as him like before, but I remember making a video at Artspace HP with some songs that I've recorded, some of the heavier stuff I've done, and it was just me at that time in that year, and I played some of my songs just by myself. Alba helped record and helped me set up the whole place. It was really beautiful. Thanks to Rosario as well for letting us do that. And in the last bit, I did like a eulogy in some way, in my mind, kind of alluding to what we went through, and just that kind of shift in my perception, if I remember correctly. The video's on YouTube, but it was just very interesting. Yeah, to see how I've seen the video here and there since then, but again, I'm trying not to take too much time, but to use, I don't like saying that like this because it just feels so natural to just do it without saying it, I think. But to use art as a way to express certain thoughts or ideas or reflect on moments, um, I just do it a lot. Sometimes it's symbolically or through like metaphors, whatever illusions. Like I tend to be very just like, oh, like seeping in little like fairy tales and like little hints, I guess, to like, oh, saying it without saying it, and that's me, I guess. But it's just very natural. But no, I remember that time it was also very difficult. It's like, oh, I don't know, how do I say? But but yeah, I remember that was I laugh now, but that was a very very uh, tough year. But we made it through, and then yeah, I mean, there was a lot more, but yeah, I'll go over that stuff later. But if we go into 2023, if my notes are right, I remember thinking like, okay, well, my memory is right. If my memory is right, I'm like, okay, well, what can we do now? Like, what should we do moving forward? And I remember one of the earliest things that we did, or yeah, that I was able to do was I was working for a doctor, Dr. Noguchi. Um, can't remember the official title, but basically she worked for the guy, and he was really nice. And she asked like, hey, like he's having like a dinner. Do you want to come over and like just have dinner? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if I brought it up or if she was just like, oh, like can I bring the? I brought the guitar, basically, to play some music, and it was me, Alba, Noguchi, and he had some company as well. And I remember taking my electric guitar, um, just some effect pedals, and his room was just a very very beautiful, like the room where I played in. It's very very beautiful, like yellow, kind of like this. No, maybe I'll share a little clip one day. There's like little clips that Alba took, but something about that day was just really 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 nice. And I should have known. Well, not that I've known, but like as I reflect, because during that year, 2023, I played a lot of shows. Well, if I counted correctly, I played more or less, like maybe some bands played more or less, but point being, I played around like 10 shows that year. Um, and at the time, after I remember thinking I want to play more, but we'll get there. But I remember as I think about it now, I'm like, oh wow, like I feel like that was just such a great kind of like start to the year to be like, oh, like all right, yeah, let's do this. Because I remember, like, yeah, why not? Let's. She asked me very last minute, I'm like, yeah, let's, why not? And it just kind of started this chain, I guess, of events that I was eventually able to be a part of, a bunch of different events, and it was such an, as I think about it again, it's like it's such a nice way to kind of be like, wow, what a great way to start like a year with that was so heavily focused on like live shows. and and I feel back, to say the truth, like I look at some of the flyers and like, and I remember the shows more or less, but it's also, I don't want to say hazy, it's just very interesting. It's I remember some of the people that I've met, and it's just been very lovely, the opportunities I've been able to do. um but yeah, it's also like I felt like there was so much going on as well, which I'll share in a bit. But I know I repeat myself, sorry. But anyways, I get nervous. um but yeah, that was such a really beautiful day, I think, to be able to do that for the gooch, as I call it. And yeah, I remember one of the shows I actually ended up playing was for at the Hive Gallery, which I always wanted to do. And I remember, what his name? Thank you, Hive. But they asked me like, oh, I just reached out. They're like, yeah, why not come in? Like, do you have an acoustic guitar? That'd be cool. I've never. I've played acoustic here and there, and I think the first guitar I ever played was with my dad's partner, Gabriel. Um, I remember he had an acoustic guitar way, way when I was younger, and I remember that was one of the first times I played the guitar, if I remember correctly. But I never really played it too much. I played a little, but I guess when the Hive asked me, I was like, because I think at that time I was already kind of looking for an acoustic guitar. I was like, yeah, let me see if I could find something. And I mean, it took me a while because I think it was also like, I think even I probably mentioned in the other video, but the journey of finding the guitar I think is really, really beautiful. And it took me a while to find the acoustic I wanted, but around that time, I think Guitar Center had a special. Just good timing. And I'm not gonna show it now, but it'll be in a series of videos that I'm releasing soon, from the time of this recording. Um, it's a Cordoba, Negra, something. I can't remember right now. It's a red guitar. It's so beautiful. I love it. It's. I remember when I got it. I remember telling Alba sometime during that year was that playing the acoustic, it's very different. I feel. I mean, it's a guitar, but the feel of it, the sound of it, the how sensitive it can be, how nuanced, how delicate, but also just how very intimate and connected you can be with the instrument. And in my mind, I felt like with nature, knowing that this came from like as close as possible to like real life, to a tree, wood. Um, Obviously, different elements that come and make it what it is. But during that time, as I got into the acoustic more and more, I remember just how connected I felt to the instrument, and in my mind to nature as well. And again, how it resonated, like how it just felt, how it feels to play the acoustic when you really, really get into it. Well, for me at least, it's very, I guess, almost even spiritual. I don't know. Yeah, I guess spiritual in a very like natural way. Um, I just don't know how else to express it, but just really feeling connected to nature. But and yeah, I ended up buying the acoustic. I got a beautiful case. I played the show. I, I would carry on between the electric and the acoustic here and there. Um, and even now, like there's moments where I'm really acoustic, really into electric, and it just shifts. But but my love really grew for the acoustic during that time. Um, but yeah, I got to do that, and again, I got to play a good number of shows, which I'm really grateful for. One of them was for an art show that Alba got to do, which is really lovely, where she sold a lot of artwork. It was a while ago, but I remember thinking like, wow, I'm so proud of her. It's She had some really beautiful work, Alba, and it was a really nice event. And I remember these two ladies, um, that owned the place, Sovereign, I believe. They would put stickers like if someone bought pieces, because it was a group show, I think. And I remember there was one point where two ladies were like, "It's mine, no, it's mine," and they're all running to like put the red sticker on the piece, and it was really lovely. Um, but yeah, again, just so many. Long Beach, I got to play Long Beach or Studio City. I can remember for like an organization that helped. I think more or less from what I remember, like teach kids artwork or just share the beauty of art. And I remember these little kids um, close to the stage when I was playing, and I remember there's some videos of photos on my Instagram, the Sueño Estelar thing. But Sueño Estelar is the name of the group of the musical project that I was working on. I may change it later, but and I remember in the last video mentioning how like, oh, I felt comfortable with the name. I still do, but I I think I've just been wondering like, should I, for a while, here and there, like, should I change the name? That's a whole different conversation. But I just thought it was very interesting to kind of think about, I guess, how you present yourself. But anyways, back to the thing, like having the kids like scream on the microphone. It was really funny. It was really great just to do that. It was so lovely. And Skies for Miles, that was a really good show too. Really lovely to be the owner. Again, I can go on and on and on. But Stay Gallery, thank you. It's just I wanted more. I think it was oh, before I get there. Actually during that time I also did a music video for a video game I really like called Final Fantasy 14. And I did one the year before called Sunrise, which was like a cover where I overlaid some guitar over something, and it was really great. But and I love the visuals. But Medion Stream, I wrote that song maybe the year before, I can't remember. I used the electric guitar, the one I have here actually, a little Twilight Epiphone. And I submitted the video for an on a fan made like online meetup gathering event called LunarCon at the time, now AetherCon. And I remember making the video. It meant a lot to me. Um, yeah, let's just say it was about an empathetic being finding her place in life and dealing with these feelings of uncertainty, of just doubt, but coming to find the light with the help of a friend, I guess. And her journey across space and time. And I made a video. I shared it with the event, and to see it shared on a live stream where people were watching, and to see people like making, to hear the people that were able to talk about the video reflect. They said that they were crying. I don't really know if they were just exaggerating, but to Rook and I believe Cider Spider were their names. It just meant a lot to be able to, for me. I did it before, but like I'm at a point now where I'm trying to find like how can I connect my love for video games and music and art and creativity, and that was one of the first times where I was able to do that and also share it with a sense of community in a way too, and that really meant a lot to me. Again, hearing their words, hearing their thoughts, seeing people just really seem to enjoy the video, and that meant a lot. So great. And then apparently I did a show with my friend Martin. 2 shows, we played 2 as Zero and the Midnight. Me and Martin played before. We played in the band. We played in the band before, and then we also met up. I think the year before, 22, and we only met up a few times, but it was fun. It was fun. And then around 23, I was like, hey Martin, like, I know we didn't get to finish this last time. I want to try it again. And we were able to meet up, and the idea was that we would record an album, like a little 5 minute thing, 5 track thing. Spoiler alert: we didn't get to record it in the traditional way, but we recorded the performance. I got to do it on my phone, which I'll talk about later. But point being, we played 2 shows at Zero in the Midnight, me and Martin. And shout out, we go to the baby. And they were based on the songs that I played the year before for the eulogy set, which is what I'll call it, as again Zero, but this time it was with Martin on the drums, really laying some fucking power. Sorry, too loud. But yeah, that's how Martin. I feel like every time he plays the drums, I feel like it's loud, but it's really fucking great. And it just adds so much great energy. And I remember all these times that I would be with Martin at his house, and if we weren't playing, we were talking. And what a great friend, Martin. Thank you for being there. It just, despite all the heaviness, we joke around a lot, but yeah, his friendship is something that I really, really treasure, and I just really admire him as a musician, as a friend, and yeah, I'm really glad that we got to do those shows. That last show was hard, and to kind of bring it all together, it was actually a part of some shows that I did with Alba, with, I guess, our photography project called Miel y Fuego. Again, I'll touch on it more later, but basically also in 2023, we hosted 4 shows at Art Space AGP. I remember Velvet Penny and Rio, all these bands and musicians, and it was lots of great people. Thank you for being there. Again, I'll go more into detail on that later, but it was just crazy how we were. I think about it, I'm like, damn, like I did a lot. Like we did a lot. Like I did a lot musically. We did a lot. Like me and Alba photographed so many bands, so many events that year. We got to photograph Joshua Tree Music Festival as well. Again, unless my dates are wrong, but I'm like, damn, we did all that in 2023. But what were we doing? It's insane. And at that time, I was working at a warehouse, thanks to my sister, where she worked at AVN, and I met some really cool people there as well. But yeah, during that time, I was working at the warehouse, and in my mind, I'm like, all right, cool. Let me push this. Like, let me push the photography thing with Alba. Let me do all these it's gonna tie in because we're hosting these events with the people that we know that I've played in the past or that we've gotten to know through the shows that we do and friends that we have. Um, I was like, yeah, let's just get this all together. And in my mind, let's make it roll. And I was like, we could do this with photography. Like, I felt like we really pushed hard that year creatively, and I felt like I really threw a lot in to try to make something happen. And if I think about it, like we did, it was a lot of great stuff. I'll go into it later, but I think but it's still a struggle to make a living as an artist. Um, but I mean, again, without getting too deep into it, regardless of that, we made a lot of stuff happen, and it's gonna be my mission. I'm just saying right now to share a lot of those photos because there's a lot that we haven't shared. Something we can get better at. I don't know, whatever it is, but like we have so many things, and if it's not something I shot at, something that Alba did, and because of the great musicians that we were able to see, shout out to Westerner as well and Paul Tropica, because going back a bit in 2022, that was actually when we got our first photo pass when we went to go see Paul Tropica and Westerner and Little Galaxies, which we didn't get a chance to get in there at the right time. But we got to talk to them after. I remember that was really really great, and some other cats as well. And yeah, I remember in that show. Shout out to Cooper for getting us in. It was such a, I don't want to say a hassle, but it was like trying to get a photo pass. I think that was the first time we actually did it. Uh, I have it somewhere because I remember thinking like, oh, this is so great. It was in Hollywood, the Troubadour. I think I can't remember, but I remember we were trying to talk with Cooper, and he was really really great with helping us get it. It got to the point basically where we were at the door and we're like, hey, like we got permission to like, hey, unless you have, I don't know how, but basically we needed to show proof of some way, and I guess the tags weren't enough or whatever. Alba went inside. I told her like she's never met Cooper, I think, but she's like, oh, I'm like, hey, like there's the guy. If you see him, can you let him know if he could come in, come out? A few minutes passed, but sure enough, I'm thinking like, are we gonna be able to do this? He's the tall guy. I see Cooper come out of the building, looking around. He sees me. The amount of love that I felt and surprise, and I'm like, yes. And he's like, oh yeah, I got you. And just all nonchalant, it's like, oh yeah, these two came for the photo pass. Really great show, really great band, really Westerner. It was really really great. Polar Tropica, everybody was amazing. But I think maybe that's also where it kind of came. Where like, I don't know, like we can do this. We can keep pushing, and that's why I think like photographing more bands and like eventually being able to get a photo pass for Joshua Tree happened too. And it was just like I felt like, wow, this is amazing. Um, and it was great. I'm like, I not that I can't complain, I can't, but it was like, but again, I remember thinking like, I want more. And I say it, I don't know, it's weird because I see it, but I'm also like, again, at that time, I think I was very, very like just determined to just reach for more. Um, but but now I think with time, which I'll elaborate on right now, I see how it's like, whoa, like that was already great to begin with. I, again, thanking God, thanking life, what like everything that life is. It's like wow, we were able to do that. I could look at it now and be like, that is amazing. What? Thanks to the support of our family as well. It's just like friends, loved ones. To think that we were able to do that after the crash and everything is just like, I mean, wow. But yeah, so that happened. Um, I guess to finish off 23, two two big things happened. I guess we went to Mexico. Again, I'll save that for more detail in another maybe segment. But one thing that really stood out was, aside from it being very culturally enriching, it really, really was, and it was very humbling too. But I got to go with Alba and her family, and one thing that really stood out was being able to hear her family, because they played the acoustic guitar. They would play almost every day at night. I say it like that because it's like, I think sometimes it's like, I was so tired. I'm like, I want to go to sleep. But it was so great to see them, like, just as a family get together to share in music. And I not that I can believe it, but it was so beautiful to see and be able to be a part of it, and share and talk about music with them. And we would share ideas. I wrote a song that I eventually made into a project that I'll talk about in a bit. But but that was so enriching. Um, there was a part where we were at a hotel that her dad works for a hotel. We got a free night somewhere, and there was a piano. And I remember thinking like, oh, it'd be nice. And there was this gentleman. He looked like a priest, and he looked Indian, respectfully. And and I remember thinking like, oh, I'd like to play. And he told me like, are you gonna play? And, sorry, I'm not trying to be offensive. Because I remember his voice had that kind of like tone, I guess, or that pace. Um, and I was like, oh, well, I would like to, but he's like, why not? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I just gotta ask for him. He's like, yeah, go ahead. And because they had to open the key, and I'm like, yeah, maybe. He's like, yeah, why not? Oh, and and I got to ask, and I was nervous, but yeah, they let me play, and I didn't see the guy again. But I remember thinking like, he was just so nonchalant, but also like, it's there, like, go for it. And it just always stood out to me. But yeah, I got to play, and that was really, really beautiful too. And I think, considering everything that I was going through, I was starting to feel like, I don't know if you heard a click right now, but I was starting to feel pain through my hands. I don't want to say it's just because of the job, but I think the job was also very physically demanding, I think. Um, but point being, I was starting to feel a little something, but was like, oh, okay, like, I didn't think too much of it. I was just like, oh well, my hands are hurting, or my body, because I'm physically lifting a lot of things at work. And you'd be surprised how heavy clothes can be in boxes. But yeah, we did that. Um, and yeah, during that time, me and Alba actually applied for. We also came across a grant from the Eastside Arts Initiative. Thank you. And to be honest, I think I was already a little tired of. I think it was getting to me because I remember like hosting events. It's like, this is great, but it's a lot of work, and I don't know if I can keep doing this. But that opportunity came to apply for a grant, because a lot of it was us doing it just by ourselves, like DIY. Like, that's just been a big part of the struggle, the money aspect, the financial, because again, it's hard to do it just as individuals. But it was just hard to make it happen. But we applied for the grant for 10K. We would find out in 2024 that we got it. And yeah, that's a big part of what we've been doing as Mia de Fuego. We actually haven't really been photographing as much, but we've done 2 events in 2024 this year, and we have one more. I wasn't able to fit it in this time, different reasons, but we're gonna finish it up with one more event at Art Space. I'm like, coming to you soon, um, next year, and that in itself is a whole thing. But yeah, we got the support from a group of people being like, hey, like, yeah, we see what you're doing. Here you go for it. Support other people, which is a big part of what we were doing. Like, it's not just us. It's, I think, because I we both see the struggle and how it is to be creative, and a big part of the grant was to help pay artists and spaces, stay art space, pop up, and the bands that we've gone to play so far, to financially support them and to share their work, because it's art just means so much. Again, I'm trying to condense because I don't know how much time I have on my storage of this phone, but it just means the world to me, and I would like to think that it means a lot to other people as well. So to help support them to do that is a big part of that. Was a big part of that project. Is a big part of the project. But yeah, I think heading into 2024, I remember waking up one day and I couldn't move my thumb. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I could barely do that. I couldn't really bend it. I've been going to the doctor since then. Thankfully my job was also helping me with that as well. But it eventually spread to this finger, and these fingers were having trouble, but like I couldn't move my thumbs, and that was around the beginning of 2024. And because in January I was like, oh, I want to play more shows, I want to do more of this, more of that, and I guess maybe again life telling me like, hey, like slow down, because again, like I was like, boom, 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 let's go, and then life just boom, whoa, what the fuck. And I think again now, thank God I could at least do this now, but and I still struggle from time to time, but and again, it's something that I'm just going through as I'm getting older. Um, but that lasted for a few months where I was like, I wasn't really sure what to do. I still needed to make money, I still needed to work, but I felt like work was really affecting that as well. So I feel like the first few months of 24 were incredibly difficult. I was trying to find a new job, which I eventually got at a boba shop in urban location, which I'm working at now, and I've met some great people there too. And but yeah, it's so much love just to go everywhere. But yeah, oh my god, yeah. And then we also got to do. Sorry, I keep jumping, but because a mix of good and bad, you know. But we got to. Me and Alba also got to do Fotolandia this year. It's like a photo event that took place like 3 days in art space with Alex and Angelica, um, with different things related to photography. And we helped Alex with just some thoughts about like event organizing. And then I remember like, oh hey, like if you're cool with having us for talking about concept photography, that'd be great. He's like, yeah, that'd be great. And we got to do a presentation that was its own thing. Um, but me and Alva got to go up and share our craft, got to meet so many great photographers, um, and just expand, I think, our knowledge and see other people do it too. And it just, again, thinking like from just buying the camera together, me and Alva, to getting into shows together, music festivals, and doing presentations. What the, like, wow. Uh, that was insane. So again, getting the grant, and again, in a lot of places where I felt like it was telling me to slow down, or I felt like I needed to like just change certain things, there were also great things happening at the same time, and that's been a big crux for me, trying to find like, I think it's just balance. It's something I keep coming back to, but like, how do I pursue these things creatively that I would like to do, whether it's me by myself or with my partner or just other people, but then also find a financial means to support it. But again, that's a whole nother conversation, but it's just always been tiptoeing on that. But that didn't stop from us doing it. Um, and yeah, so from going to that, obviously I didn't play music for a while. Like, I stopped for a good while because I couldn't really move. And I was like, is it okay to even play? Eventually, through like physical therapy and medicine, like, it's better. It's a lot better than what it was. I couldn't even move my fingers. I'm telling you now. It's like, boom, baby, boom. No, but um, but yeah, I remember during the first half of the year, it was very hard because I felt like, to be honest, I think even making the first few events for the Eastside Arts Initiative grant, I felt was really hard because there's a part of me that felt like I'm able to do this for other people, and that's really great. And I feel really bad, but to be honest, I think there was just that, whatever it is, that selfish part of me that felt like I felt sad because I couldn't do it. I couldn't play the way that I played before, and I think to be doing all these other things respectfully, which I love doing for other people, but to not, I don't know. It was such a weird time frame and mindset. I think to have. I feel like I'm trying to be better about it now, but I have to admit, like, it was just very disheartening, and it made it very difficult for me to want to be honest, to really do it because I felt like, again, it was a struggle, the work, trying to find a job, trying to just figure out like what was happening with my body. It was insane, and but I've been there, and the people that we worked with too, man. The first event was harder than the second one, but we were able to do it, and we're still doing it. Like, it's still struggle. There's so many other things that have been happening this year as well. And again, not to get too deep, but it's been hard. Two of the great things that happened where I was able to actually submit a photo for Aethercon for the Final Fantasy fan festing, and I won first place for a photography uh, contest in the game. Um, and I got a little trophy. I'll post about it later. But hearing people also talk about that on a live stream on Twitch too, and I was like, that's. I just felt like, again, like the correlation and the connection, the overlapping of music, or well, in my mind, creativity, photography in this case, and video games. Again, that's something I want to explore more in the future. And I feel like if I could do this already with the music video and with this, like, I think I can keep it going, keep an eye out. But anyways, but that is a big goal of mine in the future. Like, I'm jumping ahead, but I want to be able to do more of that and combine my love for both and see where it can go. Because video games mean so much to me too. But I'm running out of steam a little bit too. But one of the last things that one of the great things that happened was that I I think during the second event of Eastside Arts Initiative Grant, uh, I saw an open call for a space called Kismet Studio um, by Amina. It was called the Ignition Residency, and it was their second uh, cohort, second installment, I guess, of it. I found out about it like 2 or 3 days before I had to submit something, like, and it was during the week that we had the event. It was crazy, but I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. I filled it up, I sent it in, and a little bit later, I was accepted, and I'm gonna check the time real quickly. And 8, 9. Still recording. Cool. Just checking. I don't know for how long, but my time at Kismet was amazing. We still have an event that we have coming up, but to be able to get to know Amina, get to know the space, which she calls like a creative sanctuary. It was a place I was able to go in, just do my thing, whatever that may have been, and to just explore creativity. And for me, it was a really great way to like, as I was coming back to like getting my finger strength back, um, and feeling a little bit more like, okay, yeah, I can get back into this now, more aware of my body, and I'm getting older, the limitations of it, but still to be able to go in there and feel free to create, to explore, to play, which is a big part of being creative. Again, I actually have more stuff I'm going to share on that soon. But what a time the conversations I would have with Amina as far as like, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? Again, it's just a lot. There's still questions that I'm dealing with now, but a little bit more tranquil because the last few months it was heavy. And yeah, I feel like, again, where maybe the year before I was like boom, 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 knocking all these creative projects. I felt like I really, in Kismet, I was able to just let go and just like let loose and just explore, and I loved it. But there were also other aspects of my life where I think it was really asking me like, again, slow down, as opposed to just putting everything on my plate. Again, because it's like I still have these events that I have to do, with Alba, and everything. It's just like we weren't shooting as many concerts this year, 24, but what do I want out of life? What my feelings, my desires, my goals, my ambitions? How does that tie in with the people I love? All these questions, I don't want to say they were brought up, but they were definitely brought into a brighter light for me to just really think and reflect on. And I think that's why within these last few months, I've really kind of like, as opposed to like, I think in the past where I would be like, oh, let me take this on. I really kind of like just try to slow down, breathe, reflect, write, and just see, what am I doing? Where am I now? Which is what I'm doing right now. Again, this video was to reflect on everything that I've done. Again, with the help of the people that I love. Oh, and I was also able to release the videos of the I made music videos for the songs that I recorded with Martin on my phone. Again, we never got to do an official like audio recording version of the songs that we did, but I was like, I have it on my phone. Let me make some music videos, and I did, and that's what I did for 24, and I released that. It was like 5 songs, fucking bangers, if I may say, and yeah, also recorded some songs on the acoustic guitar at Kismet, which I'll be releasing next year as a series as well, and I'll be like throwing like little clips and stuff of other stuff that I've done. We'll see where the show goes, and yeah, so I guess the art, again, I still have the show coming up for with Alba and everybody for Art Space for the last EAI grant. Much love to Stay too for helping with all of that, and again, Rosario so much. Still have the show coming up at Kismet for the collective culminative show because there were other people part of that cohort. And yeah, so there's bigger projects, but it's also, I feel like it's refined, it's intentional, No, I didn't get to play. I only played two shows, which were really great. One, I felt like, oh, I stumbled a bit, but I think because I also realized, like, I'm again having a lot on my plate. I got to play with Blankies, that was great. I got to play at with Las Fotos Projects. What a great organization. But again, um, but even then, it's like the idea of like I want from being like I want to play more shows to like you know what do I like and again like I want to be intentional about how I do it too. Again, I won't get too deep into how I do it or how I plan it right now because again I didn't plan to get hit by a car a few years ago, but it happened and that's why now as I end this video, it's like well what do I want? It's like again I'm just blabbing right now, but I can say it calmer now, but I don't know. I want to be creative. I want to work with the people that I love so much in my life. I want to be there for them. And I guess my goals and my visions of what I thought it was that I wanted to accomplish as a younger person with like making it as a band with the absence before or I was all trying to avoid their name, but it's okay. And yeah, that was a part of what I was in, and it was so great. And I wasn't trying to avoid it because I didn't like it, but because it's like, oh, like that was the segment, I guess, of where I felt like the last video again was like it was me trying to grow from it, trying to kind of make a place for myself. And now I felt like, oh, like I do feel like I've been able to grow and I feel expand into myself too with other people. But again, with the acknowledgement always there of like, this is where I came from and it meant so much. I wouldn't I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to help host these events with Alba and everybody if I didn't have the experience that I was able to do that before. From like the first event that I did in Highland Park with Feel Good Fest at La Tierra de la Culebra, working with Southgate Arts Association, people within the Sela community, um, we're helping them with the Sela Arts Festival and all these experiences led to where I'm at now. I mean, I wouldn't be able to get a. I always said like, oh, if I could get paid to do like an event, that'd be great. We got 10K. Alba, damn. And I know I sometimes like get like but yeah, it's just like I don't fully know. I think life has just again just really asked me to just take a step back. I don't want to take too long either, but I think it's just realizing like, okay, we're here. I don't want to say it like this, but I feel like if I'm able to just release the songs that I did at Kismet, and if that was the last creative thing I did, I don't like saying it, but and I don't want to. I hope not. Knock on wood. That's too loud. But but if that was all I did, what a life I've lived. Again, thanks to my family, the support of loved ones. Amazing. Where do we go from here? I'm just checking to make sure I didn't skip anything. More love, more art, more video games, and more balance, more work, more passion, more love, more desire, more peace, more understanding, more compassion, more just trying to do the best that I can with the time that I have. I don't know. I'm I'm not invincible. I remember being a kid and thinking like, oh, I'll find a way to live forever. I don't know how, but I'm like, with science, technology, there should be a way. I would like to think that there still is in the future, but my own mortality has been asking me to be aware of life and the fragileness of it. And you just don't know. We never know what can happen. But again, without being too cheap, I'm a cheese ball just rolling down a hill. But I mean, again, to think of everything I've been able to do within these last few years and just in life again, like I used to think before, like, oh, if only I would have made it as a band, or if we could have made it, like, I really didn't want the Absence to make it. And however, however usually people think, like, oh, money, fame, all that stuff. I think, like, I did get to live a rock star life. Like, I'm not trying to be poppy, I'm just saying, like, I mean, so many great memories and so many great things I've been able to do with, again, people I love, and I mean, what? Not what more can I ask for, but I don't like saying it again, but if this is it, then, like, I mean, if this were it, if this were the last day or whatever, it's like, thank God I've been able to experience all of this. I still got a lot to do. I know it. I'm just saying. But I'm gonna do my best. I want to do my best for life, for love. And look, yeah, life is crazy. For anyone that doesn't know, 2024 is around the world, man. Life is insane. But we're here. There's struggles, but there's pain, but there's beauty too. I don't know. All I guess we can do is keep going. Hopefully, I'm able to make another one of these, and by that time, I'll catch you up on what else I've been able to do. Because right now, it's not much, but hopefully, but it's more like I'm just seeing where the cards may fall, man. Because I'm gonna do my best to plan, but also, like it happens. We just gotta keep going. Thank you. Much love. I keep looking off because I'm like, am I forgetting something? I don't know. I'll write it in the comments if I need to. But thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I wish you well. Whatever it is that you're doing in life. I'll just say I think there was a point where I didn't feel like I would. It was never that drastic, but I felt like I don't know if I want to. I wondered, like, what would it be like if I wasn't here? If I myself, but and not that I would do because for all respect, because I know it's hard for some people, and I think just for me, it was it's like, what would that be like? It's a hard thing to swallow because again, life doesn't go the way you always plan it, but no, I have so much I want to do, so much I want to see, so much I want to give, so much I want to learn. Despite all the things I've been struggling with this year, like I want to keep on fighting. I want to keep on. I think well, like I want to live, but I I do. I want to do the best I can. So, much love. Happy New Year. I already said it, but much love on your own journey as well. I wish you the best.